and a new segment called Behind Enemy Lines. And this week, the Vikings play the Colts. So we're going to talk to current coach Cato June. But more importantly, Cato June, I got to talk to him because we got some stories to share back in our college days. Played at Michigan. We're going to talk a little Michigan college football, Big Ten football as well, get his thoughts on PJ Fleck. But I want to thank Cato June for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show. Cato, man, let's jump out there. First of all, man, I'm excited because all year I've been forgetting to follow up with players. Like I'll talk to a player and they're like, oh yeah, man, I'm coaching now, so on and so forth. And guys we played against, Antoine Randall, he actually came to Minnesota. I didn't realize he was with the Lions. And so I had no idea. I'm down there on the sideline and everything. Never even thought to go see him. I finally saw, I don't know if you remember Marquand Manuel, Eminem, played safety at Florida State. He was in our draft class as well, did the combine with the Senior Bowl. He now coaches for the Jets, so I got a chance to see him with Sauce Gardner the past time the Vikings were at home. And so now I get to see Reggie Wayne and Cato June, and I can't wait to see Reggie because Reggie told me, I remember when I came to coach for the Colts, Reggie was at receiver. Reggie told me, he's like, man, he was making jokes in the lunchroom with Joseph Adai. He's like, man, when I'm retired, man, I don't know how Ron does it. I'm not coaching. And now look at him. The other shoe has fallen because he is now coaching the receivers for the Indianapolis Colts. So I cannot wait when y'all get to town on Friday, man. I'm going to have to check y'all out, come down to the hotel for a little bit. Quick second before I got to get home because my kids got softball and stuff, so I know my wife won't let me stay out too late. But, one, I'm excited, man. You guys are coming here. But first of all, man, talk about that. You're now a coach in the NFL. You've gone through the college ranks. How has it been as an NFL coach?
Man, it's been awesome, man. It's just, I guess it's another part of the journey, and you look at it and people always say, you know, how you coaching grown folks, guys that make more money and all that. I think that the beauty of it is, you know, playing in the NFL, being a former player, you automatically get that connection, being back, you know, in the building, back around the guys in the locker room. So that part of it. And then it's nostalgic because I'm back where I started, you know, so I'm getting my start, my NFL start where my, playing start where, you know, my coaching start in the same place. So that part is been, you know, at first, you know, it's a little nostalgic. Then it's like, okay, now I got to spend these hours in this room and go to work. So that's been great, man. We have a great staff. I think that part of it helps everything, you know, being around a bunch of great individuals, guys I can grow and learn from that's been in the game and coaching, some of them longer than I'm been alive, you know, so that experience right there is invaluable to me. So, you know, I'm looking forward to what's next, and it's been a great start, man.
Jeff Saturday, one of your teammates, now comes back to be head coach. What was that like, knowing that, hey, man, this is a guy that I played with. I used to blitz the A-gap on him, and now he's in here trying to help us get the ship right. What is it like playing for a former teammate? Or coaching,
weird,
coaching with a former teammate.
Like I said, right. It's weird because you look at it, you know, and everything, like I said, with the change with Coach Wright, and, you know, who's an awesome individual, awesome coach, and, you know, saying the coach went a different direction, that sort of thing. But then they bring in a guy who you have an instant connection with, a guy that has an understanding of the locker room and that place, this town. So many connections in that space. And then, like I said, you went to war with, you won with, you lost with, you won championship with, and it's like I said, it's all coming full circle. And just being around guys, like-minded guys. Now we got Reggie Wayne in there. You have, you know, Mike Mitchell, who's a younger guy. I didn't play with him, but, you know, younger former player. Scotty Montgomery is a former player. You have, you know, Bubba Ventrone, the special teams coordinator. You got all these former players. So, and I'm not saying that, you know, I just think it's a cool environment. You know, it's a cool environment to be around a bunch of former players, guys that have the same experience, unlike experience in the NFL, and all working towards the same goal.
And when you think about that culture, like you said, you coming back as a player, Reggie Wayne, you guys played under Tony Dungy. I was able to be there, coach a couple years with Tony, 1 year as a intern, and then another year with Jim Caldwell. When you think about that championship culture, Jeff Saturday for sure knows it. And so many people outside of your building questioned the move by Jim Irsay, but clearly, I mean, gets along with the guys, knows the players, knows the coaches already has an instant fit as a head coach. What is it about that championship culture that Jim Irsay knew that Jeff Saturday had that a lot of people don't understand what you guys are building?
some people have that it factor in terms of being around people and just can connect with people. Like I said, being a former player, being a guy that's, been in that locker room, uh, and just has a different understanding and different perspective from, maybe somebody who hasn't had that experience. Doesn't make it good or bad. It's just a different perspective. And I think sometimes that, that goes kind of, it's like one of those things that we may or may not value a lot. But I think that from the former player sector, guys, especially guys that are coaching, they understand exactly what that means. And I think that the beauty of that, some of that, the part of Jeff is so great is that he's being his authentic self. He's not trying to put on, he's being who he is and who he believes in. And I think a lot of us that had the opportunity to play for Tony Dungy, we're able to be our authentic selves. And he did it better than anybody. Hey, I'm going to be who I am, and this is how I've been, I'm a coach, and this is what I believe, and and I'm going to do it at a high level, and I'm going to be professional, and I'm going to win. Like, you can see it works. You don't have to fall into this box of what a coach sounds and looks like, and you can always appreciate that coming from Dungy. And now, like I said, coming from Jeff, it's like cut from that same cloth, a guy who's being who his authentic self and has the ability and the presence to capture a room and connect and have an instant connection with the guys.
Yeah, and when you think about transitioning a little bit, we're gonna go off topic. We'll get back to a little NFL talk, but I got to talk to you, man, about University of Michigan, man. Your alma mater. You played safety there. You wore the number 2 there. I gotta give it to you guys, man. My cousin Makari Page is playing safety there now, wearing number 7. So I definitely root for you guys as long as you're not playing Minnesota. I was hoping Michigan made it and stayed in the college football championship. I was hoping it worked out the way it did, which it did, Ohio State and Michigan. But when you talk about Ohio State, and so many people had Ohio State ahead of you guys all season, and then for the second year in a row, Michigan found a way to put their foot on the throat of Ohio State. I know, 1, you were excited, but 2, what is it about Michigan and just the bravado? Because, you look at the Michigan State, Michigan guy, I think it was Devin Bush, messing up the Michigan State, middle of the field. I remember we played you guys, and Larry Foote, and those guys, and you guys come running around while we're trying to warm up and, yapping and talking and blah, blah. And, you guys always had that. What is it about Michigan that they continue to, even though they have to reload and maybe have a couple, year or 2 off, but they find a way to reload it and get back to greatness? What is it about Michigan that continues to do that?
You know what? I think that, once again, another former player guy, right? Jim Harbaugh, who is very different in his approach. However, in terms of, and I say different meaning, you're thinking outside the box. And he's done an awesome job of bringing in guys and instilling a culture. And if you look at it, he's really been the only steady thing around there. Like, they've had a lot of coaches come and go, but he's been able to instill the culture in the brand of the locker room, so that the guys that come in there, understand and know what it takes, and understand what it is to wear the winged helmet, and what that player is made of character-wise, how he operates, how he practices, how he prepares. And he's done an awesome job of that. It helps when you have great players as well, right? You bring those guys in and they perform. But at some point, you have to stand up and say, hey, this is who we're going to be, and this is how we're going to operate. And I think he's done an awesome job, especially looking at the last few years, being able to go in and finally knock off Ohio. And if they come again in the championship, we're going to knock them off again. And, we'll go on our little run. And I'm looking forward to it. I got sick of having to take junk off of everybody because we weren't competitive in that game. And we all know that at the end of the day, if you can't beat your rival, then it's going to be tough to, stay around there.
But say you got Taquan Lewis, you got Paris Campbell, 2 Ohio State grads. How much crap have you given them this season after that loss?
Oh man, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. I and then it's double down too, because they got to wear the blue every day. I'm like, oh, you just love blue, don't you? You love it. Like, really, you gonna go there? Like, seriously? Like, and it hurts them. And you know what I love about it? That it does hurt them. You know why? Because now it means something again. Because in the past, it really wasn't, it was all we beat Michigan, whatever, But now, hey, the fact that, Michigan wins and we're on top and we're back to being, hey, Michigan, Ohio, hey, one of these two gotta, but both of them can't stand on top, right?
Right.
And it means something to those guys. So now I look back, I'm like, wow, just, you talking about 20 years ago, and in another 20 years it'll be the same thing, that cycle, and that's the beauty of that that rivalry and the Big Ten and just everything that about it, because it doesn't matter what era you played in, like certain things should always be, and we're gonna go up there and we're gonna take the brown jug, or keep the brown jug, I should say, away from you guys, and then we'll go down and beat Ohio. That's just what it
You
is.
just had to. You just we ain't even talking about the brown jug. I ain't even gonna go there. We ain't talking about PJ Fleck. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. PJ Fleck has got some stuff ready for Harbaugh. We'll see. We got some recruits coming in this week. Got some transfers possibly. So we got a new quarterback in Ethan Calais-Manis. So I'm looking forward to it. I definitely have to get you back on there once I get that jug, because I'm gonna get a replica and put it right here on my desk. But looking at your career, you and I had a chance to connect in college. We played against each other. I was friends with Larry Foote. So I got to meet like you and Todd Howard early on, David Terrell. And one thing I remember about you is, man, you were a fat safety. You were just a big safety. And then
Oh, I love it.
And then Tony Dungy saw what I saw, and he said, you know what? That's not a safety, man. That's a linebacker. And you were blessed with the opportunity for Tony Dungy to turn you into a Tampa 2 linebacker, got you a Super Bowl. So when you think about that transition with Tony Dungy, was that like an easy – because you're a coach now, and now you kind of understand, like, hey, man, you want to play receiver, but I need you to play tight end. But when you look at that, being a safety, and they say, hey, we want to draft you, but you're going to have to be a linebacker. And then, end up being a really good one with Tony Dungy in that Tampa 2 defense. When you look back on that, what did Tony Dungy kind of like, how did he breathe that into life for you?
You know what? Like, the way I looked at it from day one was, and we always just have jokes, that was our thing, big safeties, that's who we were. We call ourselves big safeties, and at the end of the day, you got to tackle with the linebackers. You got to be able to run with the DB. That's kind of the way we looked at it. As a smaller, linebacker guy that's just a speed, what you would call a speed guy or undersized guy, which is far more popular now than it was then. Like, this didn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing about it was, he gives you an example. Hey, look, here's Derek Brooks. This guy's, the same thing, undersized, and is able to do the things that we want to do. And then when you look at it from a coaching standpoint, it's all technique. Like, hey, hand placement, striking, shocking shed, footwork, first step, like tackling. Like, this is how you're gonna tackle. We're gonna combat the size with speed. We're gonna be quicker than you to the punch. Like, and all those things, when you look at it, at the end of the day, is the formula for any success at any position. And that was the beauty of it. Like, hey, this is the formula. This is how we're going to operate. This is what we're going to stick to. And we're going to stay the course, and we're going to be better at it. We're going to do the same thing, yes, but we're going to be better at you at it because we're going to do it 10,000 times. And that's the kind of mindset. We wanted to be fast, physical, and guys that were, aggressive to the football and took the ball away. And that's who we were. And every guy that, thrived in that system, was that. It was a guy that was fast, he was physical, and he could take the ball away.
And looking at the guys you play with, I mean, you play with some future Hall of Famers, some Hall of Famers. When you think about Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, all those guys, Edgerrin James, you got Tony Dungy, Hall of Fame coach. But when you think about Tony Dungy, he really lived the uncommon life. He taught the uncommon life. I remember being there, him telling Coach Tisserlink, like, hey, we got a lot of women and children today. At least keep the curse words to about 10% of what you're used to. And so Tony really lived it. He made sure that, people understood that was his life. How did he kind of help you become who you are?
And it was a beautiful thing because you really didn't feel comfortable, speaking in a certain manner around him, even as a player, right? So,
yeah.
And you saw the coaches felt the same way. And it just creates a different atmosphere. And what I saw was that my entire life my entire football life, I've been lied to because a coach has to talk this way. A coach has to speak this way at you. And he didn't do any of that. And all we did was win. So it was like, all he did was make guys better players or good players better. Like, all he did was probably he's going to end up with coaching maybe 10 or 12, 15, I don't know, Hall of Fame guys. He's a Hall of Fame. The GM's a Hall of Fame. Like, this is crazy. Like, so it taught me that there is a different way that you can have success. You can be who you are and have success. And you can be a Christian man and speak to people like adults and still hold people to a high expectation without having to be verbally abusive. That's what I learned the most, because you just don't have to do that. And yes, it's a violent game, it's physical, and everybody's personality is different. And that's what I loved about him, because he let people be who they are. Like you say, he told Terling, hey, just keep it to a minimum. And you respected that, because he's like, hey, he's being conscious of who's being around. He knew who he was. Hey, I'm going to let this guy, rest in peace, Terling, I'm going to let him be who he is, because he's going to be able to help us win and help these guys get better. But at the same time, hey, perspective. He puts things in perspective. And that was the beauty of, having great leadership. A guy like that, it's like, man, it just changes the way you think about everything.
Yeah, we're behind enemy lines with Cato June, coach, linebacker, Super Bowl linebacker, and now coach over there getting those guys ready to go. They're going to play the Minnesota Vikings on a Saturday. So Jeff Saturday walking into US Bank Stadium on a Saturday. It's going to leave on a Saturday. But when you guys sit back and watch film, because I know you said you guys watch film and you've been dissecting this. We're not even talking about Justin Jefferson, because as a linebacker coach, you guys are kind of worried about the running backs, quarterbacks, up front stuff. You do have the over routes. We know that. But when you guys, when you look at the national stories on Kirk Cousins, there's not a lot of trust in them. But when you watch film on Kirk Cousins, what is something that keeps you up at night, worried about what Kirk Cousins might be able to do in this offense?
He can make every throw. He has time. You let him sit back there. He can make every throw. He has great targets to throw the football to. And when they get the ball out on time, they do a great job. And those are the things that you have to try to disrupt, get his timing off, get him out of his comfort zone, because when you watch the tape and you can say, all right, you can listen to all the, the news, media, and people's being critical of him, but you watch the tape and you're like, oh, that's a good throw. Oh, wow, that's a good throw. That's a good throw. And being able, and if you're not careful, and you don't keep the pocket, he's not a slouch running the football. I think he has, he's like tied with third most touchdowns by a quarterback in the last few years or something crazy like that. So a stat I saw. So he's a guy that can get it done. And when you have dangerous weapons and you don't get people off their base, it could be a nightmare for you.
And when you think about, your position linebacker, you got Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL. You got Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the NFL. What makes that run game so powerful and explosive when you look at those two guys starting up front?
What they say, when you got those furniture movers and guys that can, Taylor is a guy that's, man, he's slick, he's powerful, he can run, he's fast, like he's very, he's sneaky dynamic, right? Like, so when you watch him run, it's, it's like, wow, he's got some size, he got real good speed, and he's very slick, good vision, falls forward. That's a nightmare for you when you're a linebacker, right? I'm gonna go against this guy right here. It's like almost like Fred Taylor-esque, and
right.
When you're putting it together and those big guys up front are moving people, it could be a long day for you. It could be a long day for you, and that's the beauty of watching him run and watching those guys work, because when they put it together, it's a beautiful thing.
And when you think about, look at all the relationships you've built, all the places you guys have gone to, all the stadiums you've played in, you've lived a blessed life. Because you're coaching young guys now, young linebackers. I'll never forget. I don't know if you were still there. You might have been gone, but I'll never forget being in like my first meeting with Tony Dungy for training camp. and him telling, I think Philip Wheeler was the linebacker, and Philip Wheeler had like a question about like what he could wear because the FBI was in town. You know how they do that, and he brought up like a bulletproof vest. And Tony Dungy was like, if you got to wear a bulletproof vest, I don't know where you're going at night, Philip, but you're probably not going to make this team if that's where you like to hang out. So what's some words of wisdom you've given to your young linebackers this season?
You know what? Like the beauty of it is just like being in the present, right? Enjoying the moment, and because you as a young player, a lot of times you really can't see the future. And when I mean by that is that the future comes faster than you realize, and before you know it, you're not playing anymore, right? And so the things that you miss are the daily things that you don't really cherish. Like be in the moment, be in the present. Like, hey, if we're in a meeting, a 2-hour meeting, enjoy that 2-hour meeting. If you got 15 minutes in the locker room before practice, enjoy that 15 minutes, because those are the times that you're gonna remember and miss when it's all taken away. And then you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the time that you have, however long it is.
Right.
If you're blessed to play, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, that's awesome. But that's not the reality for most people. So really it's just enjoying the moments and enjoying the people that you're around and you're blessed to be connected to, because you're connected to them for a reason. And you just never know when that light is going to get shut off and it's over. And it, for most people, there's no party, there's no parade. It's just, on to the next. And all you have is your memories. So enjoy that precious present, live in the moment.
Yeah, no, that's some great advice. Last one before we get out of here, Behind Enemy Lines with Cato June. I'm Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network. And Cato, last one, man. Like you and Reggie Wayne, and all the former guys, but it seems like you two still have a great relationship. So when you look at a guy like Justin Jefferson, because I know Reggie has his thoughts on it, what do you see in, because you've played with Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, you've played against some great ones as well, Randy Moss, so on and so forth. When you watch Justin Jefferson on film, last one before we get out of here, what do you guys as coaches and yourself personally, when you see Justin Jefferson, what is it something about that you see in him that's like, man, this kid can be a Hall of Famer, or this is the future of the NFL?
You know what? A guy like that, he's definitely a guy that could be a future Hall of Famer. Just by his ability to be a big play guy. He's so dynamic catching the football. Like he makes more contested catches than anybody that you're gonna watch, right? And anytime you have that ability to make a lot of contested catches, and you make the other ones look easy. Like like you said, you mentioned playing with Marvin and Reggie. They just caught everything, right? And so it didn't seem like much unless you get one of those that all the kids, they want to see the catches. Like, what about the normal ones that you don't really think they make really look easy, but they're for the other guys, and you played the position, like some of those catches are pretty difficult that they really make look easy, and he makes them look easy because he makes so many contested catches, and having the ability to move after the catch with the ball like he does, it just makes him super dynamic and tough to plan for, so it's fun to watch him when you're not playing him. Hopefully we'll put 3 or 4 guys on him. Maybe I think we put 6 guys on him. Maybe he's the type of guy, you put 4 guys on him and they still make a catch. Like, man, how did he catch that? But strong hand.
Come up with a new coverage.
You just have what'd you say?
You'll come up with a new cover 18. That's just the coverage.
18 something, man. You got to put it in. You know what the best coverage is? Get after the quarterback, because then you can't never get the ball off, and then all right, that's the best coverage for him. He's a good player,
I want to thank you for joining me. Man, I want to thank you for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show, man. I look forward to catching up with you this weekend. Much blessings to you the rest of the way. We'll see you on Friday. I will, hopefully, and then Saturday for sure on the field. But that's Cato June. I'm Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show. And remember, people, you can find Locked On Sports Minnesota on Amazon Fire and Roku. Just download the app, Locked On Sports Minnesota, on your TV. You can get all the videos, all the shows. You can get all the content. And also, wherever you get your podcast, just check out Locked On Sports Minnesota and the Ron Johnson Show. But thank you. Have a great one.